Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Fridays with Foster. I am your host, Foster. Today we've got a wonderful opportunity and a change for me. I've been, from a coffee standpoint, been drinking Nespresso for quite some time. It's not a real issue, but finally got a new burr grinder so I could get some whole bean coffee. And today we have the opportunity to actually enjoy some of my friend McCarl's company, Addictive Coffee. So, Addictive Coffee is a sustainable coffee company. They're very concerned with transparency for the supply chain, which is really great. Everything here is actually compostable. This entire bag is compostable, including the little Ziploc latch and everything else, which is really cool. So if you want to try some really cool coffee from a really great company, go to addictivecoffee.com. And today we're having, well, and I should push it down. So I got my French press that I'm using today. And what we're going to try today is called Morning Fix. Okay, so this is a Latin American blend, and it's actually made with toasted vanilla, orange peel, and cacao. So that should be a good taste throughout. Again, assuming that I am my palate's sophisticated enough to try it, so to taste it all. So anyway, we're going to try this out, and I want to thank my friend Mike for sending this over and sending it quickly, given the pandemic. Uh, it came a lot faster than I was expecting, which is great. Of course, that wasn't 2 weeks before Christmas or wherever we're at now, so it might be a little different. So cheers. Let's taste it. I like it. It's definitely smooth. It doesn't have a lot of bite. Normally, I get like biting in the sides and back of my tongue. I can definitely taste the orange peel a little bit, which is cool. Probably if I let it sit for a bit, I'll be able to taste the chocolate as well. Okay, that's really good. And you can't beat the name of the company. I mean, addictive, and definitely can't beat the name of the coffee of Morning Fix. So what are we going to talk about today? So today we are going to ask the question, is your family your side hustle? So the the idea of the side hustle obviously is not your it's not your primary area of time spent. It's not the number one way that you earn money in business. It's something that's on the side. There's some negative connotations, and yeah, this is meant to elicit some kind of negative questioning when it comes to time spent with family and quality and quantity. On one side, a side hustle means it is not your number one commitment, okay, which is the negative. But on the other side, which we'll discuss, a side hustle is also usually something that you're much more passionate about than your everyday job or your everyday area of focus. So that's on the positive side of that. A couple of quotes to start us off. First, from Mother Teresa, who said, "If you want to change the world, go home and love your family." And Barbara Bush said, "At the end of your life, you will never regret not having passed one more test, not winning one more verdict, or not closing one more deal. You will regret time not spent with a husband, a friend, a child, and a parent." And something my dad, Jim McCarl, has always said was that no man ever laid on his deathbed and said, "Man, I wish I would have worked more." So it's a weird time, right? COVID is a very strange time. I think there was a period, at least for me at the beginning, where I actually felt truly grateful that I got to spend time with my family, time at home with my family. It was really a wonderful opportunity, I think, that my parents and their generation never had before. And by opportunity, I mean literally that time to spend with the family. My dad did work a lot, and I don't fault him for that. He was running a family business, and it was just that was a kind of a different generation itself, but also because he was working for his father, there were certain expectations there, and so. I know that where he was able to, he was really involved, and he was involved in Boy Scouts. He coached the Little League team. He was at my football games. He did all of that, and I'm not sure how you did it, Dad. Thank you. There's a lot going on, especially not understanding as a kid what it takes to run a business, let alone the pressures of being involved in a family business. So today, now that we've been in this situation with the pandemic for quite a few months, I think that a lot of people, there are some positives. So for me, there are positives. So I've got an 18-year-old daughter. I have an almost 2-year-old son, and I've got a 6-week-old son as well. And so um, the first thing for me is I really, really appreciate my wife being home and seeing what she deals with and hearing what she deals with. I'm on Zoom calls with clients almost all day, every day, and so I'm not actually, on the other side of said gate with them. But I get to I hear what she has to deal with, and I'm not sure how she was able to do that. Now, when I was growing up, I had the distinct opportunity to spend a lot of time with my mom, who quit her job as a nurse to take what is probably nothing against nurses, but nursing is definitely easier than raising me. So, and my older sister was easier. So the joke in our family is I was supposed to be the middle child, obviously of three. And when they realized that they don't all come out like my sister, I became the youngest of two. So there was a lot for my mom to deal with. And I'm really, really grateful for that. And my mom did a wonderful job. I was not an easy customer. And it hopefully she'll agree that I came full circle. Just took me a little while, and we get along wonderfully today. Love my mom. So, but that was a different time. Now, a lot of parents have two people working. Imagine two people working from home while also being teachers with NTI and everything else. There's a lot of complexities in there, and I'm not going to pretend like I know what's going on in everybody's life out there and their kids and their situation. Everybody's got something different. But I do believe, I'd like to say I know, but who knows? This is going to end, right? We're going to go back to some businesses are not going to go back to office spaces, but some people are going to be able to go back into shared office spaces, maybe, or maybe collaborative situations and opportunities to work together with other individuals and other companies. It's going to change from what it is now. That's for certain. So the reason why I bring this up is the time I think we can get live under an illusion of the time that we're spending with our families and lead that to believe, see, there's my guy right there, lead us to believe that you kind of forget about what it was like when we weren't at home all the time. And we'll get back to that point probably, unless some of us are just going to be at home. Even so, even for us here, we're looking to build up barriers. Even though we're at home, I love my family, I love my kids, I love my wife. I got to put a door over there, man, because it just doesn't work. It's not something we thought about when we bought the house, right? There's no door in the office. I mean, we said something about it, but it wasn't something where we were really. Um, it wasn't a make or break, and it wasn't a solution that we were looking to search for. So that is going to change. So the question is, let's talk about this, not just this year, next year, last year, but just overall in life. So I'm going to throw some numbers out for you. So This is just an average, and we'll talk our way through this. So 95% of the time that we will spend with our kids is during the first 18 years of their life. I'm going to say it again, let it sink in. 95% of the time that we will spend with our kids in the first 18 years is in the first 18 years of their life. Okay, so let's put some numbers there. We're just going to work on some general averages. So the first 18 years, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, within reason, with our parents, so we at least get to see them every single day. So that counts for 6,570 days. Okay. The next number is the number that you could go a little bit higher or lower. So after we leave home, within general, after we leave home, we actually will have uh, around, we'll say, 10 days per year that we see our parents, unless we live closer. Sometimes your grandparents, your parents want to be good grandparents and help with the kids, but in general, a lot of people leave home, so we just kind of average it out to 10 days a year that we really see our parents. Holidays, things like that. I moved away from home whenever when I first graduated from school, and moved out to Los Angeles. And so, needless to say, I was very far away. Sometimes it was not even, sadly enough, sometimes it was just 4 days a year, 5 days a year. They did a really good job at the beginning. They were able to travel and they came out to see us. And then when my daughter was born, they were there. But anyway, so we'll say 10 days a year. So if we figure if people were going to live to about age 70, and if they were at a certain age, I think we use like 20, 25 when they had you as kids, then we would say that 10 days a year for 30 years until the end of your life, or whoever, your parents' life, if you're looking upward like that, is about 300 days, right? So that would give us a total amount of time of 6,870 days, just average, that we would spend with our family. Of that, we already said that 6,500, or a little over 6,500, is spent during the first 18 years, which leaves about 300 for the remainder, which is 95%. Now, go ahead and do whatever you want with those numbers, put it into a spreadsheet. I'm sure people are yelling at their screen right now. And if you want to comment, go ahead and comment about how this isn't right. I mean, I see my parents all the time and I do this and that. I mean, it's ebbed and flowed for our family. Where there was a time when I moved from Los Angeles to South Carolina, where my parents had moved to, from Pittsburgh. And I got to see them often 3 days a week, 4 times a week, even, just to spend some time with them, and then moved again here where we live now in Louisville, Kentucky. So it does shift, and that's fine. I'm not trying to tell you how much time you can or should be spending with your family. What I am saying is that I don't think we ever really think about it on those terms, right? And I think that would help change our perspective moving forward. I'm going to try a little bit more of this morning fix. Okay. So thanks, Foster, for the information. Now I feel bad. Now what do I do? All right. So the real important thing to do is, for me, is to look at what your main focus is. In America, we tend to live to work instead of work to live, right? So um, we spend a lot of time at our jobs. A lot of times that people don't really enjoy what they're doing. They fall into it. They don't question. A lot of times it's fear. There's a lot of fear that's here that actually takes away from an opportunity that we might have, because we're afraid of what might happen. We're afraid of what these situations are that are going to come up. And if you want to go back and look at one of the, my previous Fridays with Foster, you'll see where we talk about three main fears that we all suffer from. And so we don't engage in that. So we spend a lot of time. The old joke is that you spend all of our time at a job we don't like, making money to buy things that we don't need in order to impress people that we don't care for a family that we don't see. And so it's kind of sad if you look at it like that. And I'm not suggesting that anybody here is specifically in that role, but every now and then I think we really do need to take a step back and see where we are engaging with our families. What is our overall role? Do we need to buy more things, or do we need to have more experiences? Uh, I'm a things guy. I love things. I love gadgets. I mean, if you saw all the stuff that I've got here and all the different Apple products, God bless Apple. I've been a mass consumer for some time, mainly because I love tech. But anyway, that is the point being is that what I'm finding now in my second iteration of parenting with my two sons is that the time to sit out in the field and sit on a log and appreciate the fact that, well, for one, if he's sitting next to me, he's actually being still for a few minutes. I'm really grateful for that, but also just to take in the experience and remember of what I am molding, what I'm part of here with him, and this experience that I have with him. So I think it's one of those things that as I am older in my kind of my second iteration of parenting, I'm able to see things a little bit different. So great, Foster. We're very happy for you. Now, what do we do about that? So again, so prioritize and be mindful. Take a step back. If you really are a numbers driven person, sometimes you may not really be sure about how much time you're spending doing whatever you're doing. You could shoot me an email. We've got some worksheets that we use with clients from, call it time management. You can't manage time. It's really what I call foster management or insert your name management, because it's really about prioritizing and making choices, not about managing time. There's a website called Timular, Timular.com, and I've guided a lot of clients this over the years. Essentially, it's a literally a device that looks like, I think, like a six-sided or eight-sided die, um, or six-sided die. Anyway, and you flip it to a different side when you're engaging in this specific behavior, and you can track what you're actually spending your time doing. So part of this goes back to that horrible, horrible four-letter word that we all know and use called busy. I'm so busy, right? Well, a lot of times busy is not working efficiently. Other times busy is just spending time doing things that I don't need to be doing, or becoming distracted and thinking I'm multitasking. And as a lot of experts have come up with in the productivity world, there is no such thing as multitasking. There's only task switching. And with a lot of tasks that require our definitive attention, it takes us 5, 10, up to 20 minutes sometimes to get back into a situation that we've stepped away from in order to work efficiently again. So every time we switch a task. And if you're like me, there's times I've got my email up, I've got things buzzing and whistling and things. I downloaded an app for the Steelers the other day, and I had no idea what I was getting into, because every time Mike Tomlin sneezed, they sent me a text. And I was like, listen, I love my Steelers. I bleed black and gold, but I can't do I can't do this, because then I'm just chasing. I'm chasing, oh, what happened? What did they say now? Who's on the COVID list? This is crazy. And so I have to be very careful, because we're in a very distractible society today, and I need to take more control of my life in the information that comes in and goes out and how I'm interrupted. And then once I have that information, and once you have that information, how much time you're spending engaging in different areas in your life, then you can start making different decisions. Okay, maybe you have a phone-free Friday or something like that with your family, or we definitely don't have devices like when we're at dinner. We don't even put them on the table. Yeah, thank Josh. Thanks, Josh. Go Titans. From Josh. Although you gotta laugh at the Steelers losing to a football team whose name is the Washington football team. I think that's awesome, and we deserved it. We played horribly, but I think it's important to look at the decisions that we're making as we're engaging in this time that we are spending away from our family, and then make sure that the time that we're spending with our family, we're actually there, being half there, being half present, being physically there but not mentally or emotionally present, is can be just as difficult. So yeah, Arash, we're not talking about the Rams right now either. See, as soon as I mention football, then I get people to interact. When I start talking about how much time you're spending with your family, it's like cricket. So that just goes to show where our priorities are. Maybe as men, maybe not, but Anyway, so I think it's important. So what we do is we stop and start kind of measuring what we're doing with our time when we're working. And then we're making sure that when we're not and we're supposed to be spending time with our family, we figure out how to create an environment that supports that. When my phone is off, when my sometimes taking my watch off and throwing it in another room is extremely important. Going for a walk and not tracking my steps or worrying about the time, letting my son walk around in circles and poke at the sidewalk for 15 minutes and we've only gone 20 feet. That's really tough for me because I'm like, we're on a walk. We've got to do this rather than just the experience through his eyes. He's not going to remember how quickly we did the loop. He's going to remember the time when dad sat with him and broke sticks and played with leaves and things like that. So anyway, I don't have this down perfect. I struggle with this myself all the time. Being present. I've got ADD, and there's a lot of times when I just want to check out mentally because my head jumps from thing to thing to thing to thing so quickly that it's difficult for me to stay present. But I also realize that in some situations, that's just a cop out. I know that there are some opportunities for me to take to be more present with my family. There are some tactical, specific actions I can take in my life to make it easier for me to be present with my family. And I don't know that there's been one time when they've asked me to do something or when I've come up with an idea for us to just watch something or do something instead of what I wanted to do to take care of Foster that I haven't been happier at the end of the night. So, with that, I leave you spend as much time being present when you're with your family as possible. And any other questions, any other ideas that you have, things that you'd like to hear me discuss, please throw them out in any way that I can help you. Give me put a message on here. If you think you know somebody who should have this in a non-passive aggressive way, so don't send it to a family member because they don't spend enough time with you. But if you think that somebody would be interested in watching this, please share it with them. And yeah, be happy to entertain any comments or ideas outside of the Rams and Titans football right now. So have a wonderful, wonderful day, unless you've got other plans. And I look forward to seeing you next week on Fridays with Foster. Thanks.